This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Welcome back. More employees of Scotiabank set to lose their jobs as early as this weekend.
But government officials are hoping that intervention later this week could minimize the number or even delay this action. More now from Janae Noel Ferguson.
Scotiabank employees expected to learn their fate in just a matter of days on how many of them will remain with the financial institution. This as a restructuring exercise is reportedly being planned by bank executives. Now government officials have confirmed the move planned by Scotiabank. Labor Minister Shane Gibson told ZNS News Tuesday morning that he, along with Prime Minister Perry Christie, will meet with bank executives this week ahead of the layoffs. They are expected to take place by the end of the week or sometime next week. Our newsroom also was inundated with calls from concerned bank employees. Our sources said the move could possibly result in the closure of a few Scotiabank branches here in New Providence, and employees in the Family Islands may be working on reduced days. Meanwhile, Minister of Financial Services Hope Strawn, while not confirming the layoff, said the banking industry is in a volatile state as consolidation of banking operations is taking place around the world. Now, when Scotiabank released employees last year by voluntary separation packages, they noted the centralization of their assets to Trinidad and Tobago. Officials say further statements on this matter will be forthcoming. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
In other labor news, President of the Bahamas Air Traffic Controllers Union, LaShanne Gray, says the union is mandated to defend the rights of its members. As Cleopatra Murphy tells us tonight, Gray shot back at the Department of Civil Aviation that she says has been delinquent in dispensing holiday pay to employees.
President of the Bahamas Air Traffic Controllers Union, LaShanne Gray, would not confirm whether the union will take industrial action if members are not paid what she estimates to be $51,000 in holiday pay.
What I'm suggesting is that the employees are entitled to holidays off or otherwise being compensated. It's up to the department whether they wish to pay or they wish to have the employees have their days off. I leave that at the feet of the department.
Gray says the Department of Civil Aviation owes each of its 100 members about $500. She says that's from 2014 to present. She defended the union following a release by the Department of Civil Aviation that sought to dispel the impression the department was deliberately not paying air traffic controllers. The release said the payments were being processed and asked the union to operate in good faith.
The Department of Civil Aviation, under the direct responsibility of the Ministry of Transport and Aviation, and by extension the Bahamas government, has violated and continues to break the law with regards to how it compensates its workers their wages, withholding earned wages for extended periods, despite the previously mentioned legal maximum of 1 month.
She says the department's reasoning that paying monies employees earned was operating in good faith is flawed. Gray says, as stated in the release, the department used to give employees 10 days public holiday leave at the beginning of the year, and people who worked a holiday received an additional day, but that practice ended in 2004.
There was a period that they actually did try to give the additional days back and add to the vacation. They have actually reversed all of it, in addition to not having compensating for holidays.
Trade Union Congress President Obi Ferguson says the union is not unreasonable in its request and members should be paid on time.
We believe, and the law is very clear, where you work in excess of 40 hours on a normal day is time and a half, and on public holidays is double time. That should not be an issue.
Gray says as governments are subject to the law, the Department of Civil Aviation should not be above it. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Yesterday, we told you that civil aviation authorities issued a statement saying that they are operating in good faith and they call on the union to exercise greater discretion in its public pronouncements. Civil aviation officials also noted that union officials are aware that payments are being processed in keeping with an agreement made with them in December last year. And they say those payments will be made in short order. We're told that those union members who worked on holidays were granted an additional day's leave along with a day's pay, which in fact essentially amounted to 3 days in total for the 1 day worked. It was also pointed out that members of the union have received substantial retroactive payments for shift premium and training allowances, and a further installment of retroactive payments is being reviewed. We're also told that those union members received lump sum payments ranging from $4,000 to $8,500.
Child abuse cases in the capital for 2014 showing a slight decline with just under 400 reported cases. Minister of Social Services and Community Development Melanie Griffin making the disclosure Monday at the launch of activities to mark Child Protection Month observed in April. Jimmy Swain picks up the story from there.
Child abuse is something officials from the Department of Social Services are hoping to stamp out. According to statistics in 2014, there were a total of 392 reported child abuse cases. The year prior, there were 490 reported cases of child abuse. Figures for 2014 also revealed there were 112 physical abuse cases and 176 neglect cases. Correspondingly, in 2013, there were 113 physical abuse cases and 257 neglect cases. However, authorities say incest cases climbed from 6 in 2013 to 37 last year. Though reported cases overall are down, Minister Griffin said efforts to prevent child abuse must continue.
These are what we call reported cases of child abuse, and we cannot say or even feel like we could ease up on the work that we do to protect our children because of these figures, because they are reported cases, and the decrease in the 2 years does not necessarily mean a reduction in cases of child abuse.
Assistant Director of Children's Services in the Department of Social Services, Lorraine Davalier, said people should not be afraid to report suspected abuse.
Whenever persons report, that information is confidential, because that's how we get a lot of our information. If persons didn't trust us, then they wouldn't tell us anything if they heard it again. So that information is confidential.
Davalier also said when it comes to child abuse in some cases, people don't want to get involved and choose to mind their own business.
Who live in the same house and they are aware of abuse going on. Sometimes the mother is aware that her boyfriend or the husband, father, is molesting the child. They're not saying anything. That person is the breadwinner. They don't want to be bothered with the embarrassment of any sort of tale coming out on their family, any shame, anything like that, and so they don't say anything.
Authorities say while the number shows a decrease in abuse cases, the international formula for getting a better idea of what abuse cases really are could be determined by multiplying the total number of cases by 3. From 2006 to 2013, the Department of Social Services has investigated more than 4,500 cases of abuse. Jimmy Swain, ZNS Network News.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jimenita Swain. Bimini Big Game Resort and Marina officials say the 51 property is set to undergo renovations to the tune of $4.4 million. The renovation program, which is now underway, entails a new pool and pool furniture, updating for the 75-slip marina, rebuilding for the resort's 60-foot glass bottom dive boat, and several other capital improvements to the property. Some of those improvements include landscaping, painting, and installing new windows and sliding glass doors. Horizon Hotel Group manages the property, and its president, James Gold, said the improvements will enhance the overall guest experience. In other business news, the Bahamas popped up in Paris recently. The Ministry of Tourism wanted to leave a lasting impression in Europe this month, so what better way to do so than through a tourism pop-up store? The store was used to promote the Bahamas in markets for weddings and romance, meetings, incentives, group businesses, families, and tours. Among the hundreds that attended the event were members of the media, tour operators, and travel agents. And in international business news, we all hear about the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS. But have you ever wondered who skips on paying taxes? The Associated Press is reporting that federal workers and retirees owe more than $3.5 billion in unpaid taxes last year. That's a $200 million increase over the previous year. The IRS said almost 305,000 federal workers and retirees owed back taxes up to September 30th, a slight decrease from the 315,000 the year before. That was your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Jimenita Swain.
If you look close at the Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival, you'll find that more Junkanooers are involved in this festival than perhaps any other group at this point.
It goes against the perception that's been out there that the Junkanoo community is against the festival and not supporting it.
As we continue looking at those involved, particularly the groups, we're discovering that Junkanoo leaders from just about every major group are involved at some level.
And we're also seeing that there are actual Junkanoo groups participating. Last week we featured Colors Group, and this week we discovered the involvement of Sting. Jared Higgs has that.
Gary Super Johnson is one of the leaders of Sting Junkanoo Carnival Group. The group has grown in popularity over the years as a popular fun Junkanoo group, and now they're trying their hand at the upcoming Junkanoo Carnival. And despite lingering interests, Johnson says sales have been slow.
Well, we haven't sold any costumes yet. You know, we have a lot of perspective, lots of persons who are interested and show interest that we're going to buy. We have one of our members who's interested. He's looking at bringing some of his people on, in his special group.
Sting's costume theme is gaming. A male costume will cost you around $200. That includes your costume, access to Sting Carnival fetes, and drinks on the road. Ladies are also $200, except for headpiece costumes that will cost $300. Johnson explains why the theme may sound familiar to some.
Last year our theme for Junkanoo was everybody wins, which was one of the big things. So the gambling wasn't legal yet. So we thought we'd bring the theme back again and just bring it in a bigger name, the gaming.
Despite slow sales, organizers say their carnival season is fully planned and ready to roll out, including events at the farm on Marshall Road and a beach fair at Adelaide. One advantage Johnson says the group will capitalize on is an energetic group of supporters to build on.
The good thing with Sting is we have the base. Our base is basically, we have our base who every do Sunday will come out and support us. And we look, basically those are some of the same folks who shared some interest, but haven't said, I'm going to buy costumes yet. But we are hoping that at the end of the day, hopefully by end of March, mid-April, we can start getting those folks to come in.
Other carnival groups have also complained of slow sales. Most of the groups hope that potential partygoers are doing the Bahamian thing and waiting for the last minute. Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
Thanks so much, Jared. Well, what does it take to spell success? We'll ask the national spelling bee champion.
Well, today he talked with us along with several of his schoolmates who are stars among their peers. Keish Ladley reports.
You might say he was the last man standing.
INHERITANCE, inheritance.
But from the break, Charles Hamilton Jr. was the lone male among 19 female foes in the finals of the National Spelling Bee. But as it turns out, he wasn't the only one making waves at the home of the Blue Waves. Today, the school, celebrating its 60th anniversary, highlighted 4 students whose achievements helped put their school on the map.
I knew what my focus was this year, and it was to make the curve to team, and I did it.
My goal for the 100 meters is 10.50 seconds, and for the 200 meters, 21.60 seconds. From I was young, I wanted to become a chef, so I was looking for ways in which I could just push myself out there, and so I said, how can I get myself to that next level?
But the talent doesn't end there. From the dramatic,
or does it begin with my parents, who first must instill all of the right principles in me,
to hitting the high notes at National Arts. Education Minister Jerome Fitzgerald says he knows a little something about making it to the top.
I stammered very badly. So much so that I didn't even like to read. What I knew was that I was determined to give my best effort to conquer my fear of speaking publicly due to my speech impairment. Had I allowed my fear to deter me, I would not have joined the debate team in high school. Had I allowed fear to deter me, I would not have gone on to become a lawyer. Had I allowed my fear to deter me, I would not have become a successful entrepreneur at one time employing almost 200 persons in my 30s.
And that story, says Hamilton, spelled success for him.
I felt personally at home and to know that it's possible to overcome my fears and go, and by the time I reach his age I might be as successful as he is. And it's just great to know some people out there like me, I'm not the only one.
When Charles heads to Washington, D.C. later this summer, he'll be carrying the flag of St. Anne's and the country on his shoulders. He'll also be carrying this aid, which apparently carries him through.
And I think I might have to do some deep breathing exercises before. O-P-A-C-I-T-Y, opacity.
We can hold on.
It seems it's worked so far. Keishla Adderley, ZNS Network News.
I couldn't spell Keishla name. I can't, like literally inheritance. I had to double check. They said he gave him an easy word. No way that's an easy word.
I'm inspired though.
He's definitely an inspiration, not only to young men, but I think to the country as well, that we do have top class students out there, top class young men who can take over this country.
Definitely. The minister and a team of education officials recently visited the St. James Pender Primary School in Sandy Point, Abaco to officially commission the preschool unit, making good on his promise to increase access to preschool education, not just in New Providence, but throughout the Family Islands. The residents of South Abaco expressed their appreciation and gratitude for having a preschool attached to the primary school. The Minister of Education, Science and Technology, the Honorable Jerome Fitzgerald, highlighted the importance of preschools education and made reference to research regarding the benefits of preschool.